Hello, salute. We're here today with Higurashi. Let's hop right in. So, settle into our days. It was lethargic feeling. The way we kind of just left off as well. It's kind of brutal, man. It's kind of brutal. Just gotten up, but the ominous chill that haunted me had subsided. I was fine now. I was no longer frightened. I had completely recovered. I'll go to school tomorrow. Right as rain. I'll greet everyone. I'll take part in club activities. It'll definitely be... Yeah, keep telling yourself that. Keep telling yourself that, bro. It had to be fun. I was one of them after all.
ああ、そうだ。おはぎ食べないと。
What the fuck, that's loud. Alright, chill out. Ah, that reminds me. I need to eat those mochi. It's gonna be like a dead head
ど
in
れが
there.
レナの手作りか当てないといけないんだよな。
It's still quite loud. I hope I'll be able to tell which one Rena made. I remember the homework the two brought with them when they had visited me. But wow, our club day delivery? That was something else. Like, I is in denial. Stages of grief, my friend. Right now you're in denial. I picked up the package, I dropped on the floor and headed into the living room. It would be nice, I guess, to have some tea with it. To fill my mouth with mochi while drinking tea. Oh, this was quite a delectable situation I was in. Opening up the newspaper wrapping, there were five plum red bean paste mochi fit snugly inside. Red bean paste, eh? Are you sure it's not blood? There were letters written from left to right, A, B, C, D, E. Alright, not D, E, A, D, E, A, T, H. Now then. They said that Rena made one of these. I wonder which one. There wasn't much difference in how they looked. They smelled and appeared about the same. This was a pretty difficult problem. The biggest difference was probably the shape. I wasn't sure what kind of person Mion's grandma was, but Rena's had to be different from hers. Looking carefully, I could see one mochi that was made very neatly. So well, that just by staring at it, one could tell it stood out. That's probably not it. It's probably all of them are fake.
この一個がレナのか否かが勝負の分かれ目みたいだな。
Looks like the chance depends on whether or not this one is Rena's. Calm down and think even harder. Mion had said that grandma made a ton of them and was told to give them out, if I remember correctly. So that means 4 of these were from that large batch. Then what about Rena? She probably only made one. That's your mistake. She probably made all 4. That was the lie they told you. She probably spent quite a bit of time, or they ate the rest, and that was the lie they told you. So she probably spent quite a bit of time on it. Meaning the one Rena had made was this one, E. For the moment, I thought it might have been a trap Mion later she knew I'd pick up on it, but that probably wasn't the case. I wouldn't be so sure if I knew Mion had made it, but since she said Rena made it, it probably wasn't a trap.
よし。
Alright,
お茶も準備 OK。
my tea is ready too.
まずはディフェンディングチャンピオンのミオンのばあちゃんからだ。
The defending champion, Mion's grandma.
どれ
Let's see. Huh? Not bad. The smooth bean paste and soft chewy texture left little to be desired. The tea I drank afterwards also accentuated the experience. This was an exquisite piece of work. Look at my man. Now, how about Renas? The creation was so delicate, one would think it was a high-class Japanese dessert. Since I normally had quite the appetite, I was slightly worried about the size of the portion. But well, first a bite. This was quite a difficult one to judge, actually. The ingredients were exactly the same, so there was little difference in flavour. What was different was how it was shaped at the end, so it was to be expected. The deciding factor would be presentation and volume. The well-formed and well-sized champion versus Rena, the challenger with a size you just couldn't get enough of. I'd only had one bite of Rena's. I would probably have to wait until after I was done eating to make my decision. Maybe there was something hidden inside that could cause an upset. Oh, there most certainly is. A finger. Like, did I just see a finger? It seems my prediction was right. Maybe a letter. My tongue touched something. It didn't feel like something edible, so I reached in with my finger and grabbed it. A letter or something. What? Oh, there goes the music. There goes the music. What? What was this? Before I could fully comprehend what it was, I threw away the rest of the mochi I was eating as fast as I could. Poisoned. It slammed against the wall, causing the bean jam to splatter. Bean jam, are we sure it's bean? Then after sticking for a moment, it slid down to the floor. I was dumbstruck by my own actions. What was I doing? Rena had gone out of her way to make it for me. How could I? Terrified. Dumbstruck, I looked down at the hand that performed such a vile act. Then I remembered what I had taken out of my mouth, like a razor blade or something. At first, I thought it was a hair. Even though it was shorter than Mion's, Rena's hair was still quite long, and it wasn't this short. It was also a bit too hard to be a hair. A needle. It was thick enough to roll around him. Uh-oh. There's a bit of a metallic sheen on one end of it. Ah, yes. There is a hole for where thread goes through like it was a sewing needle. Oh my goodness, they try to kill you, son. Yeah, that's right. Swallow that needle. That's what they're trying to do. Yeah, that's right. It looked very much like a sewing needle. Exactly like one. The end was pointed as well, quite sharply. It really did look just like a sewing needle. Huh? What did I mean by it looked very much like a sewing needle just a bit ago? I couldn't answer. But a voice inside me already knew and let me know by chattering my molars together. I couldn't stave off the terror welling up inside me. So, ooh, yeah. I tasted something metallic and felt a prickling pain at the back of my... He's not gonna die here, is he? I stuck my finger in the back of my mouth and felt around to see if it was bleeding. Suddenly, I felt the urge to vomit. Clawing your throat. The sharp taste of bile irritated the back of my throat. I clasped both hands over my mouth, and after writhing in agony, I was somehow able to hold back the nausea. I was finally able to breathe normally again, but this time my heart was throbbing intensely. Then it finally registered. Exactly what was mixed in with the mochi. Before I could think of the correct word, my hands were already on the move. Splat. Plop. Splort. I tested the rest of the mochi against the wall. The geometrical patterns of the scattered bean jam on the wall suddenly invoked a terrible omen in my mind. After looking away, I dashed out of the hall and flew upstairs to my room, where I stayed under my covers until morning. I would have gone out there after those two. I would have gone out there. Instead of living in fear, I would have gone out there and done something before they could do something else. Like, I would have gone up there with, like, I don't have a baseball bat. I would have gone out there with my ruler. I would have gone out there with my ruler. I'm like, from 1 to 30, you're getting an ass whooping. That would have been me. Until they probably killed me. But still, if I had a baseball bat, I would go with my guitar. I'd be like, come on now. I clutched my own shoulders, howling madly in a mix of fear, anger, sadness, and frustration. This wasn't a threat or warning or reminder, nothing as simple as that. What had happened in Hinamizawa? What is happening in Hinamizawa? What would happen? I didn't know the answer to any of these questions. When did I break a taboo? Regardless, now Rena and Mion are novice. They consider me an enemy. And they thought I should just die. I won't let you kill me. Not for such a pointless reason. I fell into a restless sleep as I was crushed by my negative emotions. It was as if I was being drawn into a billowing, bottomless marsh. I'd called him. He's got a telephone here. He's got a telephone there. I just called him. I'll be on the phone. I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna call them right now, and we're gonna talk this out. And if we're not gonna talk this out, I'm coming tomorrow with a baseball bat, and like I'm getting rid of everyone. Even the whole town is in it. I get rid of the whole town. I get rid of a drug that makes you kill you. Yeah, that's basically what they did. Like maybe, where you have to like claw your own throat eyes. But nah. There is a saying. The fear of death is worse than death itself. So that's why I would have gone after them. I would be like, nah, I ain't living in fear no more, fam. I ain't living in fear no more. You're trying to kill me. Why? For no reason. I don't have a knife. Usually I always have a knife. Like when I sleep, usually under my pillow, I always have a knife, which is probably dangerous to have a knife under your pillow. But like, where I used to live, not here, but like where I used to live, it was only for like a very short time, for like 6 months or so. I had like, in those like short time that I lived in like a different place, that was like 10 years ago, granted. There was like somebody broke into our house like 5 times in the span of like 6-7 months or so. So like at one point I just like started having like a bamboo stick. So every time somebody would break it up, like, get out of it. Granted, I was a kid. I was like 11, 12. So they were like, boy, if you don't get your ass out of here. But I was still like, yeah, come on, man, get out of here. But like, you know, since then I kind of just sleep with a knife, and if somebody breaks in, I would revel in the chance. I'd be like, oh yeah, let's see. Now that I'm older, let's see. Like whether you run or whether you still stay. So I'd be with my knife. I'd be like, come on now, son, come on. I wish I had like a machete or something. Oh, yeah, that'd be cool. Like on the side of my bed, somebody breaks in. I'm like on the side of my bed, like, got it. Like a saw. Oh my goodness, but I don't. I only have a knife. It's not really much of a long threatening butcher's knife either. It's just like a normal steak knife, so it's not really that big of a threat. Nobody's ever broken in here. That's the annoying part, right? Manchester is way too safe. I don't like it. I'd much rather have someone like break in. I'm like, okay, mano, you're not having my possessions. You're not getting my computer. Like as if they're gonna carry my computer. They're like, shit, it's way too heavy. But anyway, tap tap tap. We're doing tap dancing now. The sound of muffled footsteps dropped in front of the door to my room. That's your parents' mate. A moment of silence, if whoever they belonged to was ascertaining if I was inside. Of all the things I should have been doing, I continued on my restless slumber. I was very much conscious, but my body hadn't caught up yet. Even with danger bearing down on me from just beyond the door, it was as if I was completely paralyzed, unable to move. That's the issue, right? Obviously, he's not experienced. The first time I got broken in, I was like, shit, man. Hey, I'm scared, fam. But like, once it happens, like the second, I was like, bro, really? Third time I was actually downstairs. I was playing Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2 for the Nintendo Wii. So I had my nunchuck on my Wii remote. I was like doing a Kamehameha. You had to like do backwards and forwards to do the Kamehameha. And I like Kamehameha. I was like watching the TV and like on my left, bing! Window broke. And I was like looking at the side like, bro, did you just jump into my garden and break the window? So I was like there like Kamehameha. Like that. It was so funny. Yeah, obviously nothing ever happened from that. The reason why they broke in, actually, fun story. Like 2 times they broke in because apparently they were being chased by like a gang or something, and they just wanted to find a safe place. So they broke into our house, ran upstairs, got into one of the rooms, and then just kind of locked themselves in there. We called the police. We were like, yo, the police is here. Don't worry, there's no gang member or anything of that sort. And they were like, no, the police, they're all gangs. I don't trust them. They're probably from the gang. I was like, bro, chill out, fam. I'm loving. I ain't a pussy like you, fam. Anyway, even with danger bearing down on me from just beyond the door, I'm not a fighter, right? I'll just say that right away. I'm not a fighter. When it comes, you see these, right? You see this, right? Like that's not muscle, all right? I don't have muscle. That's not a thing. But like, I'm getting off topic here. But the point is, right? I ain't a fighter. Like, I can take a punch. I've been in fights where I haven't fought back. I just kind of like took the punch. I was like, bro, is that what you doing, bro? So I've never really fought back. But like, I'm kind of like a tank. Like, I've been punched multiple times, kicked multiple times, and get, bro, what are you even attempting? What are you even attempting, bro? So anyway, even with danger bearing down on me from just beyond the door, it was as if I was completely paralyzed, unable to move. Without doubt, this was sheer terror. So that's why I never consider myself being in a fight, because I never fought back. I just kind of stood there like a punching bag. I was like, what's your point, bro? Like, what's your point? Please, just leave. Hey, why isn't my anybody awake yet? If they came into my room right now, then it's a parent. What an appropriate... You've got a belt. I can see a belt right now, right? Pick up that belt and be like, Oi! Oi, mate, pass the liquor. It's Jack the Ripper, Jack the Rapper, following you way before the dawn of Twitter. Hey! I sprung to my feet and threw my covers at my mum, who was opening the door. Whoa. Keiichi? Shouldn't she be seen like he's bleeding from his mouth? What's the matter? Sorry. Although to be fair, like if it's a red bean paste, right, he might have just gotten confused. Maybe there was accidentally a sewing needle. Like maybe it's all a coincidence. You know, maybe there was accidentally a sewing needle in there. They didn't do it maliciously. Yeah, I'm clutching at straws, all right. But like maybe they didn't do it maliciously, and they, just accidentally a sewing needle in there, and the blood that he thought that was happening inside his throat was actually just a red bean paste. I'm clutching, I know. I was still half asleep. I thought it was still 1 or 2 a.m., but the morning sun was already steaming through the gap between the curtains. It felt nothing like morning. Yesterday I must have fallen asleep right after that. Then I should have gotten a full 10 hours of rest, but it didn't feel like that at all. My internal clock was completely screwed up and my sense of balance fell off. I felt feverish enough that it was clear to me that I was still not well.
Well, Keiichi.
How are you feeling? Not well. No, I don't want to return to school ever, please. No. I felt far from well enough. No, I wasn't mentally fit to go. I was still plagued with the terror from yesterday. If I had swallowed that needle, what would have happened? If, we'll never know. Or what if it had pierced my tongue? Wouldn't be too bad. I mean, yeah, you could die from that, from blood loss, from a pierced tongue. But if it just stabs right through, like, while the bleeding would be bad, it wouldn't. It could be fatal, but like, realistically, it wouldn't be if he treated it well. But granted, if he did that himself, by accident, go. It actually depends how it's pierced. Like if it's pierced like, then sure. But if like bitten down, like from top to bottom, it will cause a lot of damage, but he still can survive. There is undoubtedly a murderous intent, but I don't think that's all it was. It was a message. If they really wanted to kill me, then there were other, more certain ways to do it. They wouldn't resort to such a dubious method as having me swallow a needle. Meaning I didn't want to believe it, but going that far was just a threat from Rena and Mion. Aren't you glad you didn't die? But next time we'll use a more assured method to threat man as sending a message. Like that. Something like sending a letter with a razor inside would have been a joke compared to this. I thought a razor was inside there, bro. Did you make it to the hospital? Did you take your medicine? Yeah, kinda. Something about my mum's dubious gaze bothered me. She seemed more concerned about her son missing 2 days of school rather than him being sick. It was definitely mental fatigue. I wasn't really physically ill. Yeah, once you're gone, bro. You might really end up being gone. It'll be hard for you to get back on track once your daily routine is thrown off. Come on, get up. And they say wellness is the state of mind, as I always say. Mind over matter. I heard that line many times before. I was given an award in elementary school for having perfect attendance. Same as me, bro. Elementary school, every school I went to, I had perfect attendance until college, where I nearly got kicked out because well, actually, no, I did get kicked out because my attendance was that bad. And then I appealed, and I'm like, yeah, okay, you can come back. But if you miss one more day at college, we'll kick you out permanently. I actually missed a day. like my final day, I actually missed it. I was like, it's my final day, bro. You can't kick me out on my final day. After this day is over, the school is over, so they didn't kick me out after I got my awards, and I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. Then when university came around, I was like, okay, I know exactly. I need to be above 66% attendance. I was like, okay, I'm going to keep my attendance at like 68. I was like, perfect. But before that, 100% attendance. I never missed a day. Even when I was ill, I still went in. But then something just clicked in college. I was like, bro, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? So I kind of made up for all my perfect attendance. I made up for it. I got a friggin'. We went to a school trip for perfect attendance, which was crazy. It was a crazy experience actually. We were like, I get into that another time, but like we were climbing a mountain. Like one of the people that was there as well. Like it was like 20 kids from our school that had like perfect attendance, and we climbed up like a mountain, and we were all like kind of harnessed together. We were climbing up a mountain, and we kind of walked down the mountain because the inclination was like that. You know, we basically had to like slowly tread carefully, and one person, kind of like slipped or something, and then they kind of started jogging and running downstairs, running down the mountain, everything, at the hill, the cliff, the mountain, whatever. And we all thought like, is he running? But like suddenly he started like he just couldn't stop. Like he didn't mean to run in the first place, so he couldn't really stop. So he kept running down. Then he started doing like wheels. He was trying to stop, and then like one of us just like jumped in front of him to stop him essentially, because otherwise he would have like fell all the way down and probably would have died, honestly. But it was crazy. All right. So much for reward for having perfect attendance, I guess. But hey, I was given an award in elementary school for having perfect attendance, but it wasn't like I was healthier than anyone. Come on, lad. Go and wash your face. Breakfast is already ready. There isn't much time before Rena-chan comes and gets you. Mum's tone meant I couldn't argue about it, so I had to give up on skipping the second day. The bean paste. I shouldn't do something like that. But father was quite angry. I didn't feel particularly guilty for doing that, so I didn't have much of a reaction. Also, Mom didn't question me any further about it. She headed back downstairs after she was certain I was getting up. Okay. When Mion said as she left yesterday, I'd hate it if you missed school tomorrow. That was a threat as well, my friend. Came back and dwelled in the back of my head. What did she mean by that? It was a threat, my son. I didn't even have to really think about it. She was saying, don't be absent, exactly. Taking that a bit further, it was the same as her saying I should just go about living my life as if nothing had happened. If I showed any sign of acting unusual, it would probably result in them making their move. I'm scared of a bunch of little girls. Like fam, alright? Alright, fam. Come on now. Alright. They're around your age, granted. It's not like it's Satoko, like who's like 5 years younger, seemingly, but still, fam. The whole school's gonna be in on it, isn't it? The whole school's gonna be in on it, isn't it? Like, you're gonna have all the people, even the teacher and whatnot, be like, yeah, we know, we see you. If I acted differently, someone like Oishi-san, for example, might end up noticing that something is up. Meaning, if I didn't watch my mouth or did anything different from the norm, in effect, it would end up communicating something to those who were undesirable. And it seems that was something that the girls didn't intend to forgive. So if I just went along as normal, no harm would come to me. Was that how it was going to be? All that misery I experienced up until yesterday would almost creepily just fade away. It was an enticing deal. Just by forgetting everything I'd seen or heard these last few days, I'd be able to keep living on like normal. I swallowed hard. Okay. Good thing is not the thing that you're swallowing hard. Pause. Pause. I once again deliberated on the idea that I had just been rejected. Mion was probably a good person who had her friends at heart. She was giving me, who had mistakenly broken some rule of theirs, a chance. Was what I did really something so unforgivable? But Mion not giving me another chance. She was saying if I just forgot everything and kept living on like I had been, I'd be forgiven. Keiichi! You see that? Your food is going to get cold. Hurry up and get down here. Rena's gonna be here. On his way he goes. I crammed my textbook into my bag and hastily made my way downstairs. I picked up my somewhat bland breakfast. It seemed that I didn't have much time. It was already past when I usually met up with Rena. Given yesterday's event, she'd probably be here in the next 5 minutes. I needed to be ready to head to school by then. I had to forget everything that had happened the past 2 days. Forget it all and return. Yeah, bro, that's not possible, alright? Ignorance is not a thing. You can't feign ignorance. For this to be normal, I'll have to be where I normally meet up with Rena. Today of all days, the rice was dry and hard to get down. Ding dong. I jumped at the sound and dropped my chopsticks. And that chime signaled that Rena had arrived. Mom hurried to let me along.
ほら、レナちゃん来ちゃったわよ。急いで急いで。
It's probably a whole gang, honestly. My mother's merry smile and my gloomy face were polar opposites. Ah, it's me! Honestly, I was reluctant to see Rena, who was waiting there on the other side of the door. The Rena on the other side, was it the Rena I knew? I couldn't keep her waiting. I needed to do things as usual. The troll. The absolute troll. Morning! An invigorating greeting filtered in from across the doorway.
ケイチ君、遅かったから来てみたけど、今日はどうかな？
Bro,
かな？
get a hammer and drill her in the back of her head. Frig me. Kill or be killed, the laws of the jungle. The manner in which Rena was concerned was without a doubt the Rena I knew. But that was probably only if I reciprocated. Forget everything from yesterday, pretending as though nothing had happened. How can you just... Like, I'm sorry, right? There is no way. If I was in a situation, even if the whole town was in on it, I'm not gonna just pretend... Like, come on now. You don't know how big you don't know how big everything is, alright? Like, granted, you're the outsider here, and you don't know whether it's like whether the whole town is in it or whether it's just like, you know, a few select people. But like, to me, honestly, the way I look at it is like, I ain't gonna pretend to be your friend. Like, back to flip off, alright? Straight up, back to flip off. Don't talk to me. I don't know you. You don't know me. I'm not gonna pretend to be your friend. Flip out of here. Like, that would be my approach. Like, straight up. Like, if I don't like somebody, in this case, if I'm scared of somebody, why the fuck would I stay around? Like, stay around. I'm like, bro, what's the point of that? You're just deceiving yourself and everyone else. You can't just forget about that. Like, nah, I would go to school with like a slingshot at least. If you're not going to school with a knife, which is obviously very difficult, I'd take a slingshot. I'd be like, all right, one step further. Forget about the as if I'm Usopp. Forget about the gruesome dismemberment. Forget about the mysterious deaths that happened the following years. Forget about the people falling to the death and a terminal illness and suicide. The fatal beatings and disappearances. Forget it. Forget all of it. Forget that Rena and Mion was scary, of course. Forget it. Forget all about it. Forget about the mochi too. Forget. Her eyes are gonna change any second now. Rena again, once again asked me to make sure.
学校行けそう？
Bro, I'll be like, the fuck? Get out of my property. I'll sue you. I'll Higurashi. I'll Higurashi. I've got him on speed dial, bro.
大丈夫だよ。
よかった。
Nah, flip out of here.
みーちゃん待ってるよ。
Flip out of here. Everything she's saying is fake to me now. And everything, he's trying to be fake to himself. Here goes. Music stopped. No! No! I thought Crazy Eyes was happening. I straight up thought... Crazy Eyes was happening. The way the music ended, I was like, okay, it's happening. The change is happening. But you see, Satoko-chan was so insistent she could do it. As we were walking, Reina talked about a lot of different stuff, more so than usual.
それで？
Then...
さとこちゃん不吉祥だから何度やってもできないの。はう、可愛かったんだよ。
So cute. Kawaii. Everything Reina talked about was just silly nonsense, so I just replied it every so often and laughed from time to time. It was a rather laid-back conversation. You're not feeling it, bro. You're deceiving yourself, you're deceiving her. We passed by one of our neighbors and they called out to us.
あれ？ケイチちゃんにレナちゃん。今日はちょっと遅いんじゃないの？ミオンちゃん、先に行くって言ってたわよ。
Apparently.
あ、みーちゃん怒ってるかな？怒ってるかな？早く行こう、ケイチ君。
She probably thought like he's not coming into school or something, and like she's got the band right now and they're heading to his house, destroying it or something. I'm joking. If it's like gangs, groups from the whole town. After greeting our neighbor with a smile, Rena turned back to me and poked her tongue out. Notice I couldn't help but crack a smile. Now she was giving you a hint at the sewing needle.
なんだよ。
What? Rena stopped and stared at me.
ケイチくん、今朝もなんか元気なかったから、まだ風邪が治らないのかなって思ってたけど、大丈夫みたいだね。だね。
Nothing she says, right? I'm sorry, I can't take anything she says serious. In that kawaii mode, kawaii mode doesn't exist. I can't take that. It was all a ruse to begin with. With a grin, she's gently she's like trying to see. Oh, have you got any holes here? No. Okay, you're smiling. Your tongue out. No, no holes. It was a bright, sincere smile. Yeah, sincere, most certainly. Hey, Keiichi Maibara. How can you still let run off this shit? You just jinxed it, my friend. Here we go. Maybe I just had a high fever up until today and I imagined everything that I thought happened because I was a bit bedridden and delirious. Here it goes. I really hope that was... Here it goes. If God would grant me just one wish, there's just there's only one thing that I wish for. Here we go. I would warn what happened in the past few days. Here we go. This guy set him up. So he's setting himself up, bro. More specifically, from the night of the Watanagashi up until last night. I wanted all of that to have never happened. I wonder how many times I'd wished for this the past few days. As long as Rena kept on smiling like this, I think I might just become reality. So I wanted Rena to keep on smiling. Keep on smiling. Go on. Here we go. Here we go. He set himself up for failure and she's about to reciprocate that. Here we go. Go on. Music stopped. Should have gotten a baseball bat with you. Should have gotten a baseball bat with you. Like, oh, fam, bro. Did you eat them all? That vain wish of mine was instantly shattered. Dream, mind crush. Like, bro. My heart began palpitating. The relaxed morning mood suddenly became frigid. Rena's smile was the same as usual. Her eyes were gentle as usual. Those emoji yesterday, did you eat more? Of course, she wasn't asking a question at face value. Why do you think she was like trying to see your cheek and poking her tongue out? In other words, Rena was asking, did you get the message? She was probably trying to convey that. I was reluctant to give an answer. Rena stopped walking and stared deeply into my eyes. Don't hesitate, Keiichi Maibara. Rena was acting the same as always, wasn't she? I needed to respond in my usual way, naturally, of course. Why you being a faker, bro? Like, I'll just be like, man, I got your message. Stop talking to me like that, bro. Stop talking to me. Stop, get out of my face. Get out of here. Both my throat and mouth had gone dry, and my lips were stuck together. Hurry and answer, Keiichi. Not that much time had passed. I could still keep the conversation going naturally. I had to say something quickly. There. There. Then I played for a minute what I said. When I finally squeaked something out, Rena's reaction was still normal. It seemed that there wasn't as long of a pause as I had thought. Somehow I finally squeaked out the rest. Delicious, fam. Delicious. My strained efforts neither sullied nor brightened Rena's expression. For a moment I panicked, thinking I had replied incorrectly. But after a few moments, Rena broke into her usual soft smile and giggled with a joyful voice that seemed to echo through the morning air. Being strung along by that laugh, I couldn't help but laugh as well. I see. Pause. Uh-oh. 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 Wait, no. No. I'll tell you what my thought right now was, right? For a second, I thought, what if there was a sewing needle in each and every one of them? And he only ate hers. So what if, the remaining 4 are at home and his parents are eating right now, like and dying because of that. But he ate 2, I believe, right? He ate the granny's one as well. He ate that first. And there was nothing in that, so no. My mind is fucked up. I'm as fucked up as everyone, but hey, my mind is fucked up. My timid smile froze again. Did you make it without swallowing the sewing needle? Was that what she was asking? If I had swallowed it, then I wouldn't be here.
いや、全部は食べきれなかったからさ。まだ残ってるんだよ。
And there is still some left. I was scared out of my wits, but that's how I played it. Man, you lot are dancing around every subject, aren't you? Like I couldn't be like that. I'm sorry. I'm not someone that dances around subject. I'm like, okay, we get into it. Like if I don't like it, I don't like it. It's really that simple. I don't like it, I don't like it. If I like it, I like it. It's really that simple. What about the homework to see if you could tell which one Lorena made? I think you got that message loud and clear.
あの宿題って今日までだったっけ?
Yes.
今日までなんだよ。
Due today.
みーちゃん怒るよ。きっと罰ゲームだね。
Penalty game. We both laughed at each other again. To a casual observer, it was just a typical morning. If I could just let myself believe, then even I'd think it was just the usual morning routine. But I was certain I was mistaken. There was something unimaginable buried beneath the facade of the giggling Rena. Where did that just come from? The way that shout just came out of Ro was like, bro, where did that just come from? That was so random. But he's flashbacking. They were still Rena. Oishi-san told me, didn't he?
実は調べてみたら、リュウグウさんは引っ越しの少し前に学校で謹慎処分を受けているんですよ。なんでも学校中のガラスを割って回ったんだ。
That is still Rena. That is still Rena. Rena had a disorder that normal people didn't. But the thing is, if she has it, everyone else has it as well, which is just like something's out here. No matter how pleasant she smiled, that fact would not change. Unless like this whole area is like a science experiment, remnants of a science experiment or some shit like that. But I couldn't even imagine how she looked as she broke all the glasses throughout the school. One thing I knew was that it wasn't something spur of the moment. If it was some sudden outburst of anger, then maybe she'd break a pane or two. But she broke all of the windows all throughout her school. She probably couldn't see the reflection of herself in the mirror. Just imagine going through your own school, breaking the windows with a bat. You should have a bat and beat her up with it. Look at her. Hey, she looks like a rebel. Like, she looks like a different person from the camera angle, bro. Like, come on now, stop. Swinging full force at each pane of glass, one after another, paying no heed to the flying shards. Your classmates aghast, unable to move from the sudden turn of events. I wonder where she could have found the most windows lined up in a row. Probably the hallway. Smash. Smash, smash. Walk, wind up, smash. Walk, wind up, smash. Alright, we get it. She smashed the windows. It was difficult for me to connect that horrifying image with Rena smiling at me right now. But I just had to imagine it. Impossible because it was unimaginable. That naive way of thinking no longer worked. And the unpleasant, piercing sound of shattered glass. The crunching noise as Rena treads across the broken shards, walking towards me. Rena's classmates going pale as they forget to even breathe. I wonder what they did as Rena came closer, breaking window along her path. Windows 98. Did they earnestly try to bring her to her senses by saying something? Or did they jump at her trying to stop her savagery? Or did they run to the staff room to call for the teacher? Probably none of those. In the face of that blood-curdling sight of Rena bursting window after window, undoubtedly all they could do was silently clear a path for her. Nah, I would have stopped her. I'll be honest, I would have stopped. Like, yo, baseball, give me that baseball bat. Give me that baseball bat. Oh, you're not giving it to me? Alright, I'm taking it off you. I would have been the teacher in this situation. Dumbfounded, just clearing a path for Rena to continue. It would be cruel to blame anyone for looking the other way. No, they weren't simply looking the other way. They knew it was the only way they could to protect themselves. If they had done something differently from the rest, they may have suddenly found themselves as Rena's... It's a bat, alright. Hey, come on now, it's only a bat. Even if it's a metal bat, it's only a bat. Right? She's swinging a bat. How fast could she swing it? Like, realistically, how fast could she swing it? You can tank one hit and then just uppercut. Like, tank one hit, your arm maybe shot it, but she can't swing it that hard to shot your arm, bruv. What would Rena have done to whoever attracted her attention? A stupid little nerve in a mochi. The answer was obvious. She would have undoubtedly acted according to her whims. Meaning I would be the next window. Rena staring into my eyes, shards of glass crunching and crackling underfoot as she drew closer. I was also drawn into her eyes, paralyzed. Then Rena struck me with the bat over and over again, like I was one of those windows. I crouched down on the floor, desperately protecting my head. Rena didn't care whether it was my back or my head. Zealously, she hit me again and again. What kind of expression was she making as she was doing this over and over again? I peered up to see. Her expression was so different, it was completely unnerving. It's because no matter how many times she struck me, I didn't make it as pleasant a sound as the other windows. Nah, I still think there's like some sort of like misunderstanding. I don't know what kind of misunderstanding could possibly be going on here, but I still think there is some sort of misunderstanding going on here. She struck me continuously, over and over again. The sound Rena wanted didn't come out. Our classmates standing around didn't try to stop her. They didn't want to be the next window. Somebody save me. Turning a blind eye unless we were hanging out. But of course everyone else in class scrambled to obtain the highest standardized test scores. They had gained nothing from saving a crumb school student like me. Blood splat. Eventually there would be a faint sound similar to when you crack open a walnut, and some sort of reddish-black spray would shoot out. Anyway, it wasn't that Rena momentarily lost herself in her anger. Forcing myself to breathe and calm down my heart, I recalled what Oishi-san told me.
でですね。そのカウンセリングをした医師のカルテに、レナさんの会話内容が記載されているんですね。
And in the counselor's medical report, he recorded all the conversation they had with Rena.
その中に出てくるんですよ。
It shows up.
結構。
In quite a bit of that.
何がです？
What does?
出てくるんですよ。
She mentioned.
親代様。
Oyashiro-sama. Oyashiro-sama. Following that, Rena was suspended at regular examinations at the hospital. And then as Rena was undergoing counseling, she said it over and over. Oyashiro-sama.
親代様っていう幽霊みたいなものがですね、夜な夜な自宅にやってくるっていうんですよ。
That's her split personality. It seemed that the Oyashiro-sama she spoke of was like a ghost, appearing in a house every night.
枕元に立って自分を見下ろすんだって。
Standing over her pillow, looking down at her. There was only a piece of the conversation, so I still couldn't see the big picture, but it was by no means a happy little conversation. And then what Rena did was she saying that ghastly incident was a result of her being possessed by Oyashiro-sama. Up until now, I didn't want to believe in Oyashiro-sama's curse. And that's why I wanted to say the mysterious deaths every year happened because of some sort of conspiracy. Every time I talked with Oishi-san, I was certain that the deaths were the work of men and not some sort of curse. Except, If it was perpetrating the incidents, my friends were somehow deeply connected. If I refused to believe that the curse was real, then I would have to believe those who acted the kindest to me were deeply involved in the incidents. Why? How? For what reason? Was Rena? Was everybody? It was much more painful and troublesome than accepting that it was just Oyashiro-sama's curse. In the aftermath, Rena had admitted to her doctor that it was because she was possessed by Oyashiro-sama. I felt a strange sense of relief from that. So that's how it was. There wasn't a second side to Rena. She did that because she was possessed by something strange like Oyashiro-sama. It wasn't Rena's fault. Oyashiro-sama was the one to blame. I knew. This was all backwards. Refusing to believe there was a curse, I wanted there to be a human perpetrator. Now that my close friends were the ones under suspicion, I changed my belief at my own convenience, saying it was Oyashiro-sama's curse to blame. Which was the better choice, accepting that Oyashiro-sama's curse exists, or that Rena and the rest of them were deeply involved in a string of mysterious deaths. I didn't want to think about it. If I just didn't think about it, I'd be able to continue the same way. I wanted to believe that. But that was no longer possible. I had received their message. It was pathetic of me to try and bend the meaning to my own convenience, regardless of whether my opponent were a human or a curse. I won't let it kill me. Finally growing some balls, as if I would just bend over and give in, for no good reason at all. Finally. Keiichi-kun?
さっきから変な顔してる。
If you're making a really weird face.
なんでだろう。
Why, I wonder? Is he gonna say it with his chest? I doubt it. Inhaling sharply upon hearing Rena's voice, I came back to my senses. Before I had realized it, we were already at the entrance. Shaking my head a few times, I exercised all those terrifying thoughts. No matter how you looked at it, there was no way Rena could have done such terrible things. It was like I was trying to placate myself. Back to normal, ladies and gentlemen. And that's probably what we'll end for today. Back to normal. I'll be seeing all of you in the next one. My thought on this is very, very clear. I don't believe in curses. I believe that the human mind being at war with itself. The human heart being at war with itself. And the mind. The spirit. But nothing extraterrestrial. Everything can be explained by science. How a cute little girl turns into a psychopath, it can be explained with science. It's called watching too much TV while growing up. That's what it is, ladies and gentlemen. So here's my advice for all of you. Don't watch too much TV. Watch the amount of TV that is suitable, but no more than that. Otherwise, you'll turn out like Rena and Mion. You'll be a psycho. But that's just my thoughts. Says the person that watches TV 24/7. Why do you think I'm a psycho? Hey. Well, little gentlemen, that's me being a psycho. More like me being an idiot. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be seeing all of you in the next one. Everyone, just realize that my thought is there's all a logical reason to it, and I think they might be innocent. I know all the signs are pointing to them not being innocent. I think they might be innocent in some way, shape, form, matter, or occasion. I don't know how exactly just yet, but like I genuinely think that like they are innocent. So that's gonna be my take on this whole situation. But I will be seeing all of you in the next one, everyone. Until then, have a nice day. Peace out and bye. Hey everybody, if you like this video, please be sure to rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe. And if you want to see more of these kind of videos, be sure to check out Patreon to get 1 week early access as well as full length. Until next time everybody, peace out and have a nice day.